My kickboxing coach used to say to me, I used to come in the gym, he'd say, what do you hate the most? And I said, I hate running. He'd say, okay, you're going running. I'd say, why? He goes, because whatever you hate is what you need. And that's what life's about. You're not going to be able to go through life avoiding pain and also becoming a man of quality. You're going to have to be that guy who's been through so much shit that he can wake up and go, this ain't nothing. This ain't nothing compared to back then. This ain't nothing compared to that time. You know, and if you're not going to be that guy, then you're going to always suffer the consequences of not being that guy. There's pain to become important, and there's pain in not being important. We're living in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter, and I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul, and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become. All these men are out here complaining that things are difficult. The reason it has value is because it's difficult. If it was easy, everyone would have it and it wouldn't have any value. The fact that it's hard to do is the reason it has a value in the first place. How are you going to complain that it's hard to be the man, but then also understand that being the man has value? They are linked. You cannot separate the two. It's a logic fail. If you love the fact, if you love the idea of being that character you dream of yourself to be, then you should love the fact it's hard to become that man, because it means no one else can do it. This is what I love. I love everything about my life. I know the shit I've been through to become who I am, and I wouldn't trade a second of it. There's a whole generation of men who have been raised without being prepared for war, because that's what life is. It's a war for resource, it's a war for females, it's a war for attention, it's a war for domination. It's war. And as a man, you have to establish yourself in a hierarchy of men. There is a global hierarchy of men, and there are men out there right now who are born with every genetic advantage, and they're 7'2" NBA players made of muscle, and that's life. And there's men out there who are 5'5" and they're not. But that doesn't make the difference. You still have to find a way to fight and compete. If you don't make yourself valuable, you have no value. You have to get up and do it. This is how life works, right? If you even let's take cars. You're driving at 200 miles an hour. You don't feel it. It's accelerating to 200 miles an hour that you feel. You don't feel once you're doing the speed. You feel the acceleration. It's the acceleration that's exciting. You need to feel the change in your life to benefit from it. Most of the time, you don't feel like doing the things you're supposed to do. But the true masculine frame throughout history was doing the things they didn't want to do, but they knew they had to do because they had honor and duty. That's what honor and duty means. Do you think the men on the Titanic wanted? That's your decision. Names a single attribute for masculinity which is going to come from a place other than trauma or pain. I talk about this all the time. People say I've had a traumatic life. I say, well, then you're very, very fortunate. You had a traumatic life, and you may have misused that trauma. You may have misplaced it. You may have accepted the matrix telling you that you now have an excuse to fail, as opposed to using it to grow. But every single man of value went through trauma, and they went through pain. It's going to be painful to get strong, painful to get rich, painful to become important. It's going to be painful to become good with women. Your hearts get broken a bunch of times. You have to be prepared for the pain. If you're not ready for pain, you're never going to be in pain. This is down to you, my friend. And listen, you may feel fired up for 10 minutes after this little talk. You're not going to feel fired up forever. You need to put systems in place. You need to get discipline. You need to get an atmosphere of people around you who are going to keep you accountable and not make it easy for you to continue to be a fucking nobody. And then you're going to fix your life. Otherwise, you're going to stay nobody. That's your problem. It ain't mine. What you can't do is devalue yourself or your attention in any way. What happens now in the modern world is that men's attention no longer has value. In the 1950s and 60s, if a girl got the attention of a good-looking guy, it meant something. Because how many times can she get the attention of a good-looking guy? She walks down the street, whatever. In the world of Instagram and Facebook and social media, a girl's getting blown up. So what does your attention have? Your attention has no value. So the way you give it value is one, becoming a higher value man. But another way you have to make sure your attention has value is you don't throw it away, because it suffers from inflation like anything else. And this is how you end up with guys who are buying presents, taking girls on holiday, doing everything for them, but their attention is so low value that it means less than one text from me after 3 months. Being smart, being witty, all these things help. But this is the reality of life as a man, is that you have to build your value. People say to me all the time, oh yeah, Tate, you get girls. I said, I got girls because I became a kickboxing world champion. That's thousands of hours in the gym. I wasn't born
with some magic. I wasn't born with some tool. It's like, I had to do it myself. So you have to build it as a man. This is just the unfortunate reality. If you're not prepared to do any work at all, you're gonna suffer. So you can't hack having a personality. You can't trick a girl into thinking you're something you're not. If you want a woman to really respect you, then be a man worthy of respect. It's really that simple. And on top of that, one of the easiest ways to be a man worthy of respect is to refuse to take disrespect.
You can be nice to women. I'm not saying don't be nice. The idea of being nice in and of itself has no value, because nice is something which is intangible. Nice is something that can be fabricated, right? You or I can go out there and be nice. We can be nice to people we don't like. Anybody can be nice. So if there's no scarcity attached, how can I have a value? Something like status is very hard to fake, right? Something like that Lambo is very hard to fake. All these things are very hard to fake, but nice can be faked. But the point is, when a guy comes along trying to be nice, I think women instinctively kind of look at you and go, look, you just met me, you don't know me, and you're being extremely nice to me. And that, to a degree, I think warns them. That's deceptive on some level. I think that's the reason they're semi-repulsed by it. If you knew me an hour ago and you're being all nice to me, what do you want? Well, we know what we want. She knows what we want. Yeah. So the whole thing just looks fake. It doesn't look genuine. And integrity and being a genuine person is not just something that women respect in men, it's something that people respect in other people. So it's good when a woman meets you to know that you're a genuine individual, a nice guy. There's a huge advantage in life to being likable. That is a skill that most people should cultivate, being likable. In the real world, the people who dislike me are people I've decided it's okay for me to dislike. Or pure violent haters, which every man gets, right? But if I'm in a conversation with somebody and I want them to like me, I have a 100% success rate. I know how to make people like me. I know how to be a likable person.
The only resource you have is your attention. And the reason it's so difficult is because now women get so much attention for no reason. Then why does your attention have value? So you have to put value on your attention. So then how do you put value on your attention?
What did we talk earlier about how trauma can mold you, and trauma can be a fantastic thing? Heartbreak, depression, sadness, these are all fantastic motivators. I'm telling you why they're a fantastic motivator. You go to a guy who's heartbroken, he has all the motivation in the world to send 300 text messages. He has the motivation, he's putting it in the wrong place.
That's 300 cold emails you could be sending to someone who hits a business.
That's a lot of money you could have made.
Yeah.
So life's going to hurt you, and how you use that pain is completely not really up to you. You can use that pain to galvanize yourself as a man, become a better man than you've ever been. I'm not saying that I'm only successful because of some chick. I'm saying that every single time that I was heartbroken, I never wasted a second. I was never wallowing. That's what I'm saying. True trauma's going to come, pain's going to come, and you have to use it in a constructive way. I'm not telling you to tell him to avoid the pain. I'm saying that when it comes, make sure it's used in a constructive way. And still to this day, that's all I would ever do. If something bad happened to me and I got really upset, I would find the most constructive possible outlet. And that's a conscious decision. You have to have the emotional control to make a conscious decision in that direction.
But I think another side of it is you need to be uncompromising, and you need to be uncompromising in a very positive way. So I always say to people, I've never been in the friend zone in my life. And the reason I've never been in the friend zone in my life is because I'm very clear about my intentions. Mm-hmm. I think you're beautiful. Oh, well, we're friends. Well, no, we're not. So are you coming on a date with me or not? No? Okay, goodbye. And I think that a lot of the biggest mistakes guys make is they don't believe they can be affirmative as a man without coming across as an asshole or coming across as a jerk or coming across creepy. You can just be affirmative with who you are and be confident with who you are and be clear about your intentions, and you'll be fine.
So don't be trying too hard. Now, the reason I get away with such little work is because I put such a high price tag on myself. I am a 4-time kickboxing world champion, multi-millionaire. So even any female, no matter how beautiful, knows I'm never going to be the guy hitting her up constantly. I'm not going to be the guy she can call and I'll always answer. I'm not going to be the dude who will give her lifts to work. She knows I got shit going on. Remember what I was saying earlier to you about how I've never struggled with females because I never focused on the females. These other game books and Bruce and all these idiots. Worry about yourself. Get yourself straight. And when your own shit's straight, you got yourself together, females are an added bonus. If you go up to 1,000 girls, you get 5 phone numbers and one might f you. Yeah, I'm sure that's absolutely true, but so? You're gonna spend your life, instead of becoming rich, instead of becoming strong, instead of becoming smart, you're just gonna fucking run around a mall, approaching girls, day game. It's garbage, it's for children. All that is for children. I focused on myself, and that's how I've managed to attain the highest quality females. And also not attain, retain. And sometimes that's difficult. Let me tell you something. She might be talking to a real G. If she's talking to me, you're gonna struggle to make her like you more. It's true. I have more tangible assets more physical, financial, and mental assets. Plus, I know the game. Sometimes you're outclassed. That's how it goes. Sometimes you're just outclassed. That's how it goes. It's another thing you can't really control. But what you can control in those situations is that you don't make her lose respect for you. Keep your honor about you. You're going to lose the game. There's two ways to lose it, with honor and without honor. So you have to have a system in place that's going to allow you to escalate and elevate your conversations and elevate and escalate your relationship and her interest level in you. If you're going to sit there and just message girls, you might be on lockdown for the next 6 weeks. Every day, how are you? Fine. You? What are you doing? At home? You? Home? So you got to have a little bit more strategy than that. You know what I mean? But then you have to understand, you're always in competition with other dudes. If a girl is messaging you, she's messaging 20. So why does she like you and not the rest? I mean, it's not easy as a man nowadays. It's really not easy as a man. It's getting harder and harder. I'm not saying that you can't get hot girls. I'm just saying that the hot girls are certainly aware of their worth. And Instagram gives them unlimited dating pool. Like, one of my girls has 69,000 followers on Instagram. Her Instagram account's on my phone, so I can see it at any time. And she gets a message every 6 minutes, maybe. And she's had messages from verified NFL stars, Chicago Bulls, all this. So, like, if you're a hot girl, like, if you ever feel lonely, you click your Instagram inbox, you scroll through, and you decide who you want to reply to. Yeah. You know, like, these girls are never lonely, and they're never not talking to someone. And this is the element that most men forget, and this is something I try and drive home in the PhD course. The reason it's so hard for a man is you're not trying to make her like you. You're trying to make her like you more than she likes the guy she was talking to before you. Yeah. So you're always in competition all the time. Yeah. And the competition as a man is near unlimited, and that's something you have to keep in mind. And you have to be on the ball, and you have to be ruthless with it. You've got to have your game in check. And you can get to a point where if you're really smooth with it, it gets easy.
I am absolutely and utterly a believer in hard work. I'm a proponent of hard work. I have all this money and all I do is work. My entire life is work. This podcast is work. I'm getting in the car. I'm going to another meeting. Work. I'm going to fuck a bitch. That's work. People who are in charge of the world don't care about anyone but themselves. They don't care about you, whether you're gay or straight. They're not interested. What they're interested in doing is controlling the minds of people and affecting the way people operate in a way which is beneficial to them. Once you get to a certain level of incomes and wealth, everything becomes free. And that's what I'm like now. I don't know the price of anything I eat or buy. If it's not a house or a car, even most supercars, G, I don't even know. I'm still a student of life, right? Nobody knows everything. And there's still a lot of people who I respect and will always respect and always am quiet around and treat with absolute respect. But I've been learning for a very, very long time. I've always been very, very observant, trying to pay a lot of attention. And life really doesn't have to be that complicated. When you see somebody that has something you want, you just got to try and work out how they got it. Yeah. And that's the missing part. Most people see people with things they want and they don't do the second half. They don't try and work out how they got that thing. Oh, my man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour. How did he get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, here's a Ferrari, wish I had a Ferrari, and they go back to TV. Yeah. And that's why they lose. When I talk about the Matrix, I'm talking about the systems which have been created by society, which are deliberately designed to enslave. In the movie, the Matrix were used for our body heat, but here in this Matrix, we're used for our efforts and our energies. And you're existing inside of a system which is deliberately rigged to make the rich richer and for the poor to stay poor. Yeah. And you can sit there and get upset about it. You can sit there and cry about it and say the system needs to change, which is what some people do, socialists, XYZ. But I know that's a waste of time, right? That's futile. The best thing to do is to understand the rules of the game and find a way to win. So yes, the game is rigged. Yes, the rich are always going to get richer. Yes, the poor are always going to struggle. And that's the way the game is set up. So you still need to find the best move on the chessboard. There's no point sitting there saying, I want to play a different game, because that's never going to happen. Because the people with the money are the people who have the control and they have the power. And why would they have the game set up any other way? Why would they change it? It's also the basic of economics. I think a lot of people don't understand the true basics of economics. And the basics of economics state that even giving money to the poor, it ends up back in the hands of the rich. There's no way to stop the rich getting richer. I've already explained this before. But I remember during COVID when they did the stimulus checks, and they passed out all this free money to everyone, $1,000. In England, they gave a lot more money. But in America, everyone got like $1,400 each, and everyone was happy about it, saying, oh, he's giving money to the poor. Yeah, but what do those poor people spend that money on? Amazon stock tripled because they all went to Amazon. Yep, so Jeff Bezos got richer, right? But the fact is that there's less companies than there are people. All those $1,400 checks amongst all those people at the bottom ended up in the hands of a few companies and the rich got richer, and you can't stop it. Doesn't matter if those people invested their money, doesn't matter if they bought stocks, doesn't matter if they bought crypto, doesn't matter if they bought a house, whatever. The people who have the assets and have the companies and have the control are always going to end up getting control of the currency, and they're always going to be richer. So that's kind of how it works. And it's getting worse and worse. It's have-nots and have-yachts. You have to be positioned to take advantage of opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like in chess, they say good moves come from good positions. It's true. You can't find a good move from a terrible position, right? If you're sitting at home with no money, it's hard to invest in Bitcoin at $1. Doesn't matter what it goes to, right? You got to be in a good position to take advantage of things. You've always got to be in a position where you have a good network, you have good information, you have some kind of liquid money, you have the ability to survive without that money, you can take a risk. Like, it's hard to set yourself up. I'm in a position now where I'm in the NBA. I'm an NBA player. I can never go broke again. So it doesn't matter, right? Once you're in the NBA, I can throw $1 million at something. It doesn't matter if it works or not. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. And that's why it's so much easier. They always say the first million is the hardest, and they're completely right. Once you get to a certain point, you can gamble to a degree, right? I always knew that the Matrix existed, and I always knew that the traditional systems, even when I was going to school and they're sitting there going, "You're not going to get a good job if you don't get good grades," I was the one sitting there going, "You're a liar. Shut up." I just knew the teacher was lying. I knew school was bullshit. I knew college was bullshit. I knew university was a lie. I always knew it was a trick and a con. I didn't truly understand things to the level I understand them now, but I had an intrinsic understanding, and I think everybody does. If you're in a gas station and it's 3 a.m. and a Lambo pulls up and a guy gets out of it, you're thinking criminal, drug dealer, gangster. Yeah. You're not thinking, he has a uni degree, because you're not going to think that. So when you see money, people don't even associate the money they see with university. But then they go, "I want to make money, so I'm going to university." It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So I think everybody knows that the system and the path they lay out for you is not a path that's going to lead to where you want to be. And I didn't know what the other path was, but that intrinsic distrust for the system and that distrust for the things they wanted me to do made me search for other avenues. And then I found them, right? And if you speak to the people who are richest, if you speak to the people you know, this is for everyone at home as well, if you speak to the people you know who have the most money and go up to them and say, "Hey, what made you rich?" None of them say school. I got an A in GCSE. Like, who gives a it's bullshit, right? So it's all indoctrination. So I knew it was indoctrination, and for that reason, I was always searching. And if you're searching, you're going to find. The problem is, as well, it's difficult because the way that humans work and the way that we've evolved as a species is that we don't really learn lessons unless they're learned the hard way. Yeah. I believe that unless a lesson has taught the hard way, you're not going to learn it. You can have so many near misses and people won't learn their lesson. Bro, you must know a guy who goes out there, nearly crashes his car, doesn't slow his ass down till he wrecks it. Yeah. Like, this is how people are, right? So you need that pain for the lesson to sting enough to really genuinely go inside of your mind. And it's the same with everything. It's the same with driving a car or business. Truthfully, if you want to learn a lesson about business, you're going to have to suffer at some point, right? So we always say that most people are not successful with their first companies, X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. I get that. The truth is there's a lot of people who make a lot of money with their first company, but they just spunk it, act an idiot, and it all blows up in their face. And that's how you get the discipline on your fourth company, that when you have $3 million in the bank, you just leave it there. You know, and don't be done with it. So you need to go through some pain. You need to experience some negative things. You need to have to a degree some trauma to really even learn any lessons. So yeah, business studies, you're right. The book, that's not going to teach you anything about business. You need to get out there on the streets. You need to make mistakes. You need to suffer. You need to have the tax man knocking at your door. You got to deal with all that stuff so that you make sure it doesn't happen again. I really think that humans are stupid enough to only learn the hard way. That's kind of how it works. What's actually the saying, if you know what you have, you ain't got much, that is completely true. Yeah. I don't have a clue how much money I have. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much money I had. I had 117 pound in the NatWest, and that was it. I'm poor, rent's paid, I ain't got nothing else. When I was broke, I knew exactly how much I had. But now I'm at a point where it gets really difficult to truly measure how much money I have, because you have cash. Okay, that's easy. I have some crypto, which is constantly fluctuating. And then you have assets, and the price of the assets is constantly fluctuating. And then I have companies and income streams, which need to be valued. And how do you value them, right? They can be an 8 times multiplier in some circumstances, and others, they'll be a 10 times multiplier. Yeah. So it's really difficult for me to put a value on it. And once you have a healthy respect for money, once you get past a certain amount of money, you don't need it in the bank. Like, there's no point in me having 50M liquid in the bank. Why? What am I going to buy? You know, you're like, as long as you have whatever you have in the bank to run around the world with, you have enough. So you try and put that money to use, right? You buy assets, X, Y, Z. So it's really difficult. I mean, I have my online school, which we'll talk about later, Hustlers University. Yep. that's already been valued. That was valued at 300 million. There's a bunch of these real high-level crypto guys, you know, like the guys who invented Ethereum and all that, the autistic guys. They don't own anything. And I kind of get that. I'm at the point now where they have a backpack of their possessions, and if they want a house, they rent it. They want a Lambo, they rent it. If I need to go somewhere, rent. I don't own anything. I don't have any hassle. Nothing's in my name. No government can take anything from me. You know, you get to a point of wealth where you kind of start thinking, do I want to have all this crap now I got to deal with? Really, you want peace of mind. And I have enough troubles in my head. I don't need to be worried about my mansion in Santa Monica, which has been broken into. And I don't even go there. Do you know what I mean? It's just long. So that's that. And then also what I was saying earlier about property being a tool to the matrix. If you buy a 10 or $20 million property under a government, you can't piss that government off. You can't disagree with that government. You can't, if the tax authority of that government says you owe them money, you better fucking pay it. We're going to lose a house, right? Yeah. If they say you better take an injection in your arm for the good of society, you better take your vaccine. You better put your mask on. You can't even get a parking ticket, my G. Listen, if I'm in England right now, I don't own any assets in England, right? And I pull up in the DBS. Have you ever seen James Bond look for parking? Me neither. No, fuck no. He parks up and gets out. That's what I do. Park up, boom, get out. I don't look for parking. They put a ticket on the DBS. Let's say I decide not to pay that, right? What are they going to do? I don't have any assets in the UK. They're going to make a bunch of letters, send it to a bailiff. Bailiff's going to drive around the UK. I don't even live here. Boom, it's over, right? If I had a 20 million pound house, eventually it's going to go, the 60 pound becomes 120, 120 becomes 240. Yeah, bailiff comes, 2 grand, 3 grand, boom, boom, boom. Gets to the point where they're going to take my 20 million pound house off me. Maybe it takes 3 years, but they will, over a parking ticket. So by buying that property, you're now giving you're giving the government a way to hurt you. You're giving them a leverage over you. And I'm at the point of wealth now. I have enough hidden money where I don't want any government to have any leverage over me. I want a government to say, Andrew, we don't like you. And me say, get fucked. Safe. All right, I won't come then. Bye. And that's the problem with property. Property is a tricky one. I know you can make money with it, but you have to understand that they'll use it against you, man.
I knew I would be the best. I genuinely knew I would be the best. You have to understand that this world, everyone constantly tells you, do not be arrogant. Do not have an ego. When I had my Twitter, I put my ego into overdrive because I found it entertaining. But people will constantly tell you to not talk in a way which is full of conviction. People do not like you to be arrogant and have an ego. This is the worst thing ever. Let me tell you a fact, the number one facet of a G mindset. Your life is never going to be worse if you walk through the world believing you are the fucking man. You wake up, you look in the mirror and go, I'm the fucking man. I am the man. There's no one on this planet who can do shit I couldn't do if I put my mind to it. I don't give a fuck how good you are at piano. If I decided to play piano, I would be better than you at piano. And I believe that. I don't just say these things, I fucking believe them. And when you go through life believing you really, really are the man, there are very few downsides. The downsides are everyone's gonna call you arrogant, everyone's gonna call you a dickhead, everyone's gonna say he has a big ego. You're gonna lose a few loser friends. Who cares? What you are gonna gain is other people on the same path. You're gonna gain other people who think, yeah, well, I'm the fucking man too. This guy's the man, let's make some money. That's what's gonna happen. So the first thing you can do with your G mindset is you need to start believing you are the fucking man. Even if you're not the man yet, even before I was world champion, I knew I was gonna be the man. So I don't give a fuck. And I was happy to say that to anybody. When people called me arrogant and stupid and deluded, I just sit there and look at them and say, yeah, fuck you, I'm gonna be the man. And this is how now, when my life's kind of come full circle. And the reason I managed to go full circle is seeing someone else with more success than me, ingrained in my brain. And to a lot of people, it doesn't ingrain in their brain. I was walking to school. If I was walking to college with my friends, I used to have to walk. I went to a college on the other side of town, so I had to walk 4.6, I think it was, fucking miles to college. It was a fucking nightmare. So I used to walk. Halfway, I meet some other people. Then towards the end, there'd be a group of 5 or 6 of us along the way. And one day a Ferrari burnt past us, and everyone else was like, oh yeah, Ferrari. I'm like, and I remember saying to the group, I was only 18, I said, doesn't it annoy you that this guy has a fucking 300,000 pound car and we'll probably never have one? And they're like, oh yeah, it's only a car. I'm like, no, you don't understand. There is a life hack. There's something happening where people are living lives that other people don't get to live. There's something happening. There's something going on. I want to have a 300,000 pound car. I want it. And no one else wanted it. These little events didn't ingrain in their brain. A Ferrari driving past me bothered me. And it bothered me to my core, to the point where I decided I would do anything it takes to have one. Whereas other people just saw it and carried on with their normal lives. This is the reason I have 6 or 7 supercars and other people don't. Because these small events ingrained in my brain. So this is the second thing, G mindset. First thing you have to believe you're the fucking man, you can achieve anything. And when I say that, I'm gonna say that again. You have to believe you're the fucking man, and you have to believe you can achieve anything. I'm not saying you can achieve anything easily. I'm not saying it's not gonna take a whole bunch of work. I'm not saying it's gonna happen quickly, but you have to believe you can achieve anything. I'll tell you something now, I don't give a fuck if it's being an astronaut. I don't care about climbing Mount Everest. You give me enough time to train, I will get it done. I know that for a fact because I know who I am as a man. You need to be perspicacious. You need to understand that in this world, there's a whole bunch of people doing amazing shit that you are not doing. And that needs to piss you off. Because if it pisses you off, you become motivated all of a sudden. I was the only one who was pissed off when that Aston Martin was next to me and I had my sales job. I was the only one who was pissed off when I saw that Ferrari drive past. Other people were not annoyed by it. And when they're not annoyed by it, they're not driven to beat it. You understand? They're not driven to be where that person was. You need to be annoyed, and I'm telling you to be angry. Anger is a fantastic force. Like I said, the world tells you not to be arrogant, it tells you not to be angry. It's two things it tells you to do. Don't be arrogant, don't have an ego, and you don't have anger. You're a fucking man. You're a full-grown man. It's perfectly fine for you to be pissed off. It's perfectly fine for you to look around at your life, look at the girl you're fucking, look at the house you live in, look at the car you drive, and get pissed off and go, you know what, I want a hotter bitch. I want a fucking nicer house, and I want a faster car. There's nothing wrong if you take that anger and you direct it in the correct direction. This is the reason I stopped fighting now. People go, why do you stop fighting? That's because I fought and I went through hell to get everything I now have. I had nothing when I fought. I had nothing. And I wanted the life I now have. Now I wake up in one of my 3 mansions with one of my 7 supercars and one of my 15 women. What do I need to fight for? Like, people have different motivations for different things. There's some fighters out there who fight for other reasons, you know? But my motivation was I was pissed off at the world. And now I'm not as angry as I used to be, so I don't believe I'm as good a fighter as I used to be. I'll still whoop some ass, but I'm not as good as I used to be. So that's why I've decided to retire early. But this is the second thing. So the first thing, believe you're the man. Second thing, you need to get angry about your situation. When you look around you and you don't own the home you're in, get pissed off. If there ain't a Ferrari on your drive, get pissed off. If you don't have 10 Playboy Bunny level beauties, get pissed off. And what the fuck's, you need to sit there and realize, whoa. I have a few years of consciousness, and even less than that, I have a few short years as a young man, because age will damage you. I mean, if you're a millionaire when you're 60, it's not nearly as good as being a millionaire at my age. I became a millionaire at 28. So you need to realize you got a few short years as a young man, you're fucking wasting them. You need to sit there and go, fuck, shit, get angry. Because getting angry, forced, directed anger is an extremely powerful force. Nobody, absolutely nobody, gives a fuck about you as much as you're going to have to give a fuck about yourself. Nobody cares about you as much as they need to care to fix your life. Even your parents, even your friends, even all the people who think they care about you, they care about you. Yeah, sure, there may be 2 or 3 people on the planet who genuinely care about you, but nobody is going to come to your bed, drag you out of bed, fucking drag you to a job, force you to work hard, go and get you a hot bitch and go and buy you a Ferrari. Nobody is going to do that for you. You are never going to have any of the things you want if you do not get them yourself. Nobody cares about you enough to do it for you. This is absolutely true. Personally, I'm an atheist. And when I say I'm an atheist, people seem to be a bit confused by this. I don't know why that surprises people, but I'm absolutely and utterly an atheist. And the reason I'm an atheist is because I believe that there is no grand plan. There's no God in the sky looking out for me. I don't believe that there's anyone here to save me on this planet or in the sky or anywhere else. I am me. I was born. I have maybe, if I'm lucky, 70, because I'm quite big. When you're physically large, you die sooner. 70 years of consciousness. And these years I experienced, the only person who's going to make them fun and exciting and interesting, the only person who's going to make me happy and live a life that I want to live is me. Nobody's going to do it for me. No God has a plan for me. There's no one else who wakes up each day and goes, you know what? I want to make Andrew Tate's life better. I want to get him more pussy and more money. No one thinks that about me. No one thinks that about you either. Nobody thinks that about you. The only person who gives a shit about your life truly is you. And if you don't give a shit, then you're fucked. And after you get angry, you need to realize that nobody is going to give you the things you want. It doesn't matter if Donald Trump is president or not. I'm a huge Trump fan, but it doesn't make a difference. No politician is going to make you rich. No one else is going to come along and say, I'm going to concentrate my effort on fixing your life. Nobody. You have to understand you are out here alone, absolutely alone. And when you understand these 3 things, you start to see how a mindset comes together. Nobody's going to save you. You're fucked. It's totally down to you. You're pissed off with your current situation and you want to change it. Plus you believe you can do absolutely anything. This is how I thought at 18 years old. This is how I achieved so much in the short years. This is how I went from a nobody to a world level athlete and a multimillionaire. Also, people confuse the two. Kickboxing is not boxing. I made across my entire career in kickboxing maybe about 700,000. I now have about 8 or 9 million. This was not made in kickboxing, this was made in other ventures. I have managed to be a world level athlete and an extremely successful businessman at exactly the same time. Because at a very young age, when I had my prime resource of energy and power at 18, 19 years old, I understood those 3 tenets. I believe I can do anything. I'm pissed off I don't have the life I want, and nobody else is gonna give it to me. These are 3 things you need to understand. If any one of these elements is missing, you'll never have the right mindset. The G mindset will never formulate if any one of these elements is missing. All 3 are absolutely essential. And the sooner you get your act together, the sooner you start to panic and worry and be concerned that you're 24 or 25, you're not fucking rich yet. There's 24 and 25-year-olds out there who got a contract for fucking NBA, or their parents, or they won the lottery, or who knows what. There's 24 and 25-year-olds out there who are multimillionaires fucking the hot models. These Instagram girls with 3 million followers, they're getting dicked by someone and it ain't you. And that needs to piss you off. You need to get concerned, you need to get worried, you need to, shit, I'm running out of time. You need to get some urgency in your life.
I've always been rich, but I'm not just rich because of money. You have to understand, I'm rich because of a bunch of things that money cannot buy. Like, I know there's people with lots of money, but they don't have the network I have. They don't have the brotherhood I have. Just sitting with my boys knowing that if it comes to, if the bullets start flying, me and my 10 friends, we all die or no one dies. Having that brotherhood, having women who would literally, you could go to jail for 10 years and they would wait for you. They exist for you and only you, completely and utterly. You are their entire universe. Like having physicality, walking through the world bigger and stronger than everyone else, having all those professional fights, having, and all the bad things, having the trauma, all the pain, all the bullshit I've been through. You ain't a good man if you haven't had trauma. A man without trauma is a weakling, because as a man, you need things that almost kill you and don't kill you. So I'm rich not because of money. I'm rich because I've been through a whole bunch of shit. Like, I don't see anyone else on the planet richer than me because they're either too old or their life's been too easy. Like, I've had a very, very unique life, very, very eclectic life. I was born with the best possible start a man can have, which is good parents and no money. I've made all of my money completely myself the hard way. None of this fucking internet, Twitch, easy shit. I've done it hard. I mean, you can get in the ring anytime you decide. Whether you win or not is a different story, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, for sure.
But it takes dedication. It doesn't take motivation, it takes dedication. You can't be motivated to put yourself through hell all the time. You have to be disciplined.
100%.
And dedicated.
100%.
Different. But yeah, I'm one of the richest men on the planet because of all the things I have that money cannot buy. My money's nothing, right? Money's easy. Like, once you're past 10 mil, let's say, there ain't nothing to buy. But the point is that once you get money, that's fine. But then I believe money is an amplifier. I don't believe money changes. I think it amplifies. So if you're a dork and you get incredibly wealthy, you become a mega dork. Whereas if you're a G and you get incredibly wealthy, you become a mega G.
So
I'll give you an example.
It amplifies your status.
It doesn't change who you are, it amplifies who you are. If you see a Lamborghini pull up and a little nerd gets out, you think, oh, fucking super tech nerd, probably invented Stripe or something, he's a nerd. Whereas if you see a Lambo pull up and a big fucking strong, bald, whatever crazy dude gets out, you think, okay, he's a drug dealer. He's a mafia boss. The Lambo doesn't change what you think, it amplifies who the person is. Money is an amplifier, it doesn't change. So I'm very fortunate, I'm very happy that I was poor for a long time because I never would have been able to learn the lessons I've learned if I was rich. I would have never been able to take those risks. I would have never been able to be in those situations. I've been stabbed just like you. I'll show you my scar. So I would never have been able to been put through hell if I had money. So I'm very glad I was poor for a very long time. And the reason I'm the richest person on the planet is not because of the amount of money I have. It's because of all the shit that happened to me when I was poor. Like, everyone wants to be me. I'm top G for a reason. I've got it all. I've got every single gift that God can give, plus all the gifts you can make yourself. And I state that without arrogance. I don't mean to be arrogant, but I am a realist. And as a realist, it would be absolutely unprofessional for me to sit here and pretend I'm not an exceptional human being. Because I am. And a lot of those things I did myself. And some of them were God-given. But the ones that weren't God-given was because I put myself through hell. I put myself through hell because I decided to throw comfort away. For 10 years of my life, I was never comfortable. Never for a second. If you were born 100 years ago and it was the 1920s, you'd be in some ditch in northern France, living in the fucking mud, hoping not to get killed by a random sniper in some bullshit war you barely understand for 4 years. Then you'd come home and hope your wife hasn't been bombed. That's the world. The world has become exceptionally easy for a lot of men. It used to be a different place. Most men were cannon fodder. Most of us would have ended up in wars, dying for fucking no reason.
Damn.
Now we don't have to do that. So because we don't have to do that, men think it's okay to just become comfortable now. You're not supposed to be comfortable. You were never evolved to be comfortable. You're supposed to be uncomfortable.
Right.
And if you make yourself uncomfortable constructively, it's very easy to be anything you want. You talk about GTA, Grand Theft Auto. I know the game. I used to play the old one on the PlayStation 1 when I was a child. Oh, the very, 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 very first one, like 1994.
Okay.
Old school.
Okay.
But I've never played any of those games, but I find it amazing that people will sit there and spend all their time upgrading that character, making as much money as they can, getting the best guns, getting strong, getting some hoes, meeting important people, getting the best car. They'll do all that in a game, but they won't do it in real life. I find that incredible. Like, my life is GTA. I don't need to play a game for GTA. If I want a gun, I'll fucking buy it. If I want a car, I'll fucking buy it. I want a bitch, I'll get her. It's me. I am GTA. I don't see why people play the games. They play the games because they're scared of loss. Because if you die in the game, you get another chance. If you lose in the game, you get another chance. In life, you get one shot.
Damn, that's...
But if you get some balls, that's what life is as a game. That's what life is as a man. This is one big video game. You get to upgrade your character. You're not born with any value. All these women that you just put me on with are born with value. They're pretty already. They're gorgeous already. They're good looking enough. Even if they're a 5, someone's going to give a shit they exist because someone wants to fuck them. As a man, if you don't make yourself valuable, you have no value. You have to get up and do it. Just like a video game, you start with fucking 0. You have to decide if you want to complete it. You have to upgrade your character. So I find it amazing that men are going to play video games and fuck about and waste their time instead of upgrading their character. Everyone knows what to do. You know what you have to do.
You're right.
If you had to become the most dangerous, intelligent, respectable man on the planet, you know you're supposed to go to the gym. You know you're supposed to train, learn how to fight. You know all these things. You don't do them. That's your decision. It's your prerogative. I didn't make that choice. I made the choice to do it all. I decided all of that. And every single man watching this can do the exact same thing. Which is why I have very little pity when I do these streams and people think I'm arrogant or I'm rude to people, or even to you earlier. But the point is, that's a conscious decision you made. I would never make fun of someone who hasn't got a choice. If you've made a fucking decision to be less than you should be, then I believe you should be mocked for that. And me as a man, when I put myself through hell, when I have had such exacting, such stringent standards for myself, why would I then have less exacting, stringent standards on the people I meet?
Damn.
Why would I put myself through hell to be me and then meet someone who didn't put themselves through hell and then treat them like my equal? No, fuck you. I suffered when you didn't. So you're not my equal because you decided not to suffer. You have enjoyed comfort when I haven't, and that's fine, but don't expect me to look at you as my equal because you're not. I'll snap your fucking neck. That's the world. When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, yeah, that's probably true. The 5 people you spend the most time with, that's what you're gonna end up like. They say, yeah, that's true. And then they continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be. Why? There has to be a point. There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, etc., etc. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever. But I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. You wouldn't want to be, if you were to come hang out with me and you were in a room with me and my 5 friends, you'd feel self-conscious.
You're right.
You don't feel self-conscious with your friend. I'm with killers. We're fucking monsters. If you were to come hang around with me and my crew, you would be self-conscious, and that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. If you were to get in a room and you're the only person who ain't a fucking monster, you'd want to become a monster. That's life. That's humanity. So I say this to people all the time. If you know you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with, why you hang around with people you don't want to be? And I live with my brother, my cousin. I live with men. We have a big house. We could all afford fucking 10 houses each. We live together on purpose. If my brother does 500 push-ups, I ain't going to be the bitch at the house. I ain't going to not do them.
Right.
So that's another reason the war room exists. My organization, the reason it's so competitive is the reason we kick people out. You have to fight them out. It doesn't matter. Everyone pays to join. You get kicked out anyway. You have to fight to keep your place. That's the whole... That's because that's how life was. If we were still in the animal kingdom, the lions that you see on TV, they weren't just born big lions. They had to fight other lions. They had to fight to get that antelope. They had to fight other animals, hyenas, jackals. They had to fight to be the boss. We're living in a comfortable world now where people think, oh, it doesn't matter. But you know what? To some degree, it does matter. It does matter, and I'll tell you who it matters to. It matters to your soul, and it matters to God. I stand in the mirror with a pure heart. I know I am the best version of me that could possibly ever exist. I know that God is proud of me. There's nothing that God hates more than sloth and laziness. If God were to create a man and that man were to sit around and do fuck all, God will frown upon you. It's why you're never lucky. If you're listening to this and you think I'm never lucky, I'll tell you why, because God dislikes you because you're fucking lazy. Start to work. Start to show God the beauty of his own creations. You'd be amazed how lucky you'll become.
Wow.
God is unhappy with these people. And inside their hearts, they're unhappy. We talk about depression, anxiety, all those things you mentioned earlier on this podcast. That comes from self-loathing. You loathe your own weakness. You loathe your own laziness. This is what all of these things are. I don't feel depression. How can I feel depression when I'm the most powerful version of me that I could ever fucking be? How can I feel depression when I could squeeze my own hand hard enough to break my own bones? How can I feel depression when I've smashed and destroyed 68 people's faces in front of me, men who thought they could test me in fair combat? How can I feel depressed? It's impossible. Do you understand?
Hey, Andrew, so how do I get like a six-pack quick? What's the fastest way to get a six-pack?
Why does it have to be quick? Why does it have to be easy? Why do you think life is all quick and easy? Why can't it be hard and difficult? Why can't you suffer? Because suffering is what gives it value. If everyone had a six-pack and it was quick and easy, then it wouldn't be valuable, would it? If everyone walked around with a six-pack and they got it easily, then no one would give a shit. The whole point is that it's difficult to get. Value is linked to difficulty. If you want something that is valuable, you need something which is difficult to obtain. You shouldn't be thinking about quick and easy. You should be thinking about hard, suffering, pain, going through it. That's what you should be thinking about. This is going to be hard, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because when it is done, then everyone's going to know that I went through something difficult.
Nobody, absolutely nobody, gives a fuck about you as much as you're going to have to give a fuck about yourself. Nobody cares about you as much as they need to care to fix your life. But nobody is going to come to your bed, drag you out of bed, drag you to a job, force you to work hard. You are never going to have any of the things you want if you do not get them yourself. The only person who's going to make me happy and live a life that I want to live is me. Nobody's going to do it for me.
People say, Tate, what motivates you? And I find that I think that's a stupid question.
I was a 4-time kickboxing world champion. For 12 years, I trained 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was motivated to train probably about 25% of the time. The rest of the time I went because I am disciplined.
If I wake up and I'm unhappy, I will do the exact same things as if I am happy. I will go to the gym the same. I will work the same. How I feel has no impact on how I live my life. We're grown-ups and we have responsibilities and we have problems and we have pressure, and you don't necessarily have to be happy to perform, and happiness will come at the end of the performance anyway. But if your number one goal as a man, if your number one mission in life is just to be happy, that's going to be an extremely vaporous existence, and you're not going to be a man of substance.
Your ability to deal with stress, the amount of stress you can deal with as an individual, is directly correlated to your success level. If you can deal with stress all day, you're going to be successful. If you collapse under stress, you're not going to be successful. There's no way to the top without stress involved. But there is a massive correlation between success in life and stress tolerance. The more stress you can tolerate, the better your life's going to be. One of the only things in this world you can control is your state of mind. You can't control the weather. You can't control other people. You can't even control your health. One of the very few things in the world you have genuine control over is your state of mind. If you can't control that, then you're just a feather in the wind, and life's going to blow you around.
I can't imagine truly wanting to quit something and not being able to quit. I can't imagine it. When I talk to people who say, I want to quit smoking, I say, when? They go, oh, well, soon. Well, that means you don't want to quit. You want to keep smoking for a while and quit later. I can't imagine a mind frame or a mindset where I want to do something and can't do it. It's almost difficult for me to answer that question, because if you have that kind of mind, if your mind is so fundamentally broken that you cannot do with your own mind what you want to do, then you're just, right? Life is hierarchical. There's always going to be kings and there's always going to be peasants. If you have a mind that you can't control, then you're never going to be a king. You're going to be a peasant. That's your life. You have a peasant's life ahead of you, and that's your destiny. Enjoy. Right? There's always been peasants. That's life. But I believe that the most important thing you can do as a man is to gain control of your mind. Once you have control of your mind, life is so ridiculously easy. People say to me, Tate, you're in good shape. All you do is drink vodka and travel the world. You're never even home. You never even have a gym. How do you do it? It's ridiculously easy if you control your mind. If I decide to do 1,000 push-ups, I'll do them. Maybe I have to do them one at a time. Maybe I'll get tired. Maybe I need a break. I'm going to do 1,000 because I said I'm going to do 1,000. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. You either control your mind or you don't. And all of these things stem from the same problem. It's something you can do. It's something that is learned. It's something that is taught. Depression is the ultimate motivation. If you're unhappy with your life and you're depressed, I don't expect you to be popping pills and sitting laying in bed. I expect you to give me a huge list of everything you're achieving per day. Depression's a fantastic motivation, but people are told the opposite. No, a lot of people's problems are all in their mind. And I'm not saying that mental conditions aren't real, because absolutely some are. But I try and explain to people, look, the only thing on the planet you have genuine control over is your state of mind. You can't control the weather. You can't control anything. The only thing you can affect in genuine real time is how you feel in your head. How you view the world absolutely and utterly shapes how you react to the world, how you act in the world, how people view you. It's all down to how you view things. You have to believe you're a fucking man, and you have to believe you can achieve anything. I'm not saying you can achieve anything easily. I'm not saying it's not going to take a whole bunch of work. I'm not saying it's going to happen quickly. But you have to believe you can achieve anything. When I tell people that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, everyone agrees. They go, yeah, that's probably true. And then they continue to hang around with people who they don't want to be. Why? There has to be a point where you sit and go, okay, you're my friends, et cetera, et cetera. I love you guys. Yeah, we can talk, whatever. But I'm on a different life path. You have to leave some people behind. If you were to come hang around with me and my crew, you would be self-conscious. And that self-consciousness would motivate you, or they would certainly instill the discipline required for you to change. You don't feel self-conscious amongst your peers. That's why you don't change. When I was broke, I couldn't sleep. And I say that, people laugh. I'm not joking. When I wanted money, like fucking I needed air. People say to me, I want to be rich. And I say, okay, well, I want to be able to ice skate. But I don't want to be able to ice skate enough to go learn how to ice skate, because I can't be bothered. I mean, surely if I could click my fingers and be a figure skater, I'd click my fingers. Who wouldn't? But I don't want to actually go train because I don't want it enough. And this is the exact point with money. Everyone wants money put on their lap. If you truly wanted money, you wouldn't be able to sleep until you fucking had it. And this is the point. Because when I had nothing, I couldn't be distracted. You couldn't distract me from what I wanted. Life when you're young is a completely different experience to life when you're older. When you're older, your life quality seriously decreases, massively. So you have about 10 to 15, maybe 20 years to find a way to get rich and enjoy being rich. You got to put it all together, you got to do it quick. You have to start saying, I want to take money. Because that's how you have to think. You don't make it, you take it. So you have to start talking that way. You got to take money. Is that money isn't real. Money is like water. Money never stays still. If you can find and identify a place where money is moving, if you can find a place where money is moving and stand in the way, then the money is vulnerable. Problem is with the people out here, everyone has a dream, but not many people have a plan. A good plan today is better than a perfect plan tomorrow. You got to do something. You got to do something fast. Yeah. You're just sitting around talking about it and hoping for things to get better. I don't think living in a dream is going to help you in any way. I think you need to be sitting here panicking at the fact that you don't have one. You need to be concerned and worried and sad. You need to do something about it today. Because that's how I started my first business to make $1 million. I sat in my room, pissed off, and I came up with the idea. Most people see people with things they want, and they don't do the second half. They don't try and work out how they got that thing. Oh, my man has a Ferrari. Okay. I wish I had a Ferrari. Okay. They don't sit there and go for an hour, how did you get a Ferrari? It doesn't cross, that part is the part they don't want to do, right? They just go, oh, here's a Ferrari, wish I had a Ferrari, and you go back to TV. Yeah. And that's what they do. You need to understand that in this world, there's a whole bunch of people doing amazing shit you are not doing. And that needs to piss you off. Because it pisses you off, you become motivated by this. You need to be annoyed. And I'm telling you to be angry. Anger is a fantastic force. You take that anger and you direct it in the correct direction. And listen, you may feel fired up for 10 minutes after this little talk. You're not going to feel fired up forever. You need to put systems in place. You need to get discipline. You need to get an atmosphere of people around you who are going to keep you accountable and not make it easy for you to continue to be a fucking nobody. And then you're going to fix your life. Otherwise, you're going to stay a nobody. If you were genuinely pissed off about your situation, you would not need me to motivate you. You would motivate your fucking self, and you would do something to change it yourself. The motivation isn't real. Everyone says this. Motivation is not real. Discipline is real. I do not feel like training, but I still train because I'm a disciplined individual. You don't get to go through life only doing the things you feel like doing.
How you view the world absolutely and utterly shapes how you react to the world, how you act in the world, how people view you. It's all down to how you view things. There's very few things in this life we actually have any control over. I learned all of the lessons I'm going to be teaching you the hard way. I didn't learn them in a course, so you guys are very, very lucky. I learned all this shit the absolute hard way. I came from absolutely nothing, becoming a world level athlete, and now becoming a self-made multimillionaire. So all of these lessons I've learned absolutely the hard way. I have been in a single mother, my mom crying because she can't pay the bills, broke as a joke. I've been a multimillionaire. I've been a nobody. I've been famous. I've been a world level athlete.
The truth is, if you want to control a society, you need to control the men, because it's men which riot and cause revolutions. It's men which can fight. It's men which can really make serious change. I mean, women can scream and complain, but they can be largely ignored. But when men start to riot, you have problems. So how do you avoid that? Well, you make sure the men don't have enough will or enough gumption to put up to resist the absolute shit show they're being forced to put up with. Because the truth is, life for 99% of men in the Western world is awful. And most of them know it, and most of them feel it. And still they will continue to pay their taxes and go to their job and sit inside of their sexless marriage because they've lost their will to resist. And this is done very specifically. This is done on purpose. It's not an accident. Because otherwise people would stand up and say, wait. What? The price of everything's doubled in the last 10 years. My wages are the same. What's going on? But no one does. So it's a very conscious effort to damage the psyche and the fighting spirit of masculine men. Absolutely. I truly believe we live in a matriarchal society in the West. Now, I no longer live in the West. I live in Romania, the far end of the European Union. It's like a strange place to kind of live, but I really like it here. But when I go back to the West, I realize just how matriarchal the society is. There's a lot of people on Twitter, I'm quite big on Twitter, and there's guys in the red pill space and the right-wing space who always talk about patriarchy and how they're going to establish a patriarchal household and all this stuff. And I try and explain, the laws in Western countries prevent you from ever being a patriarch. If your woman at any point decides to lie and say you hit her, or to say you raped her, or a girl you're sleeping with, he raped me. I had sex with him consensually 9 times, but the 10th time I was drunk and it was rape. Right. And the law, they will come and arrest you. Yeah. How can you be a patriarch in a matriarchal society where females have the entire power of the law to destroy you at will? You can't. So the truth is, the reason most men act the way they do is because they know that if push comes to shove, the entire force of the legal system will always side with the female. So why does the man come home after working a long 10, 11 hours in the coal mine, ask for a cup of coffee, his woman tell him to fuck off, continue to have no sex for 3-4 years, his kids don't respect him, he's semi-depressed, nearly suicidal, but he doesn't get a divorce? Well, we know why. Because what's the option? You're going to lose the house, you're going to lose the kids, you're going to be stuck paying for her bills and allowing her to go on endless dates. You're out the game because it's extremely difficult to find a mate nowadays unless you're a top-tier male. So what choice do you have? It's a matriarchal society. Females have all the power in the West. So like any society, if you're the class which is attacked or the class which is ostracized, which men are, you're going to lose your fighting spirit. You're just going to think, well, the best way to survive is just to be nice to everybody. I'm just nice. Do. And that's what's happened. Because there really is, unless you have that spark, unless you have what it takes to truly build a life which is unique and build a life which puts you beyond the controls of these enforcement mechanisms, then the safest way to live is to be a simp. It's not easy to be like me and run my mouth. I've lived the consequences of talking. I know what can happen. And I'm sure you've been there too with the shit on Twitter and blah, blah. Most people can't put up with this. My biggest ever outrage is when, this was about 4 years ago, is when I was still verified on Twitter before I got banned. And I said depression wasn't real. And I know that's like a really controversial take. And my point was very simple. My point is that depression is a natural instinct inside of men. And it's something that is designed to show you that you need to change something about your life. If you go to jail and you're depressed, it's not because you've caught depression. It's because you're in jail. This is why. So if you feel depressed, you need to wake up and go, well, why am I depressed? And how can I change this? I had people message me saying, you don't understand how it feels. I'm fat and I can't get a girlfriend because I'm depressed. I said, no, you're depressed because you're fat and you can't get a girlfriend.
Right.
You got it the wrong way around. So when I said depression wasn't a clinical disease and it's simply the result of not living a life that you truly enjoy and you're not happy with, it blew up. It went huge. I had Hollywood stars. I had J.K. Rowling and the guy who plays the Incredible Hulk, and everyone was coming for me. And when this was like the most controversial I got, and everyone was trying to cancel me. And at the time, I was doing television commentary for the cage fighting here in Romania. And when I went into work to commentate, the owner of the organization called RXF, which is like the Romanian UFC, he had a stack of emails like this. Shit. Where people had Googled me, found my employment, and emailed him saying I'm a misogynist and I'm fucking encouraging suicide and all these crazy pages and pages. And he sat down there and goes, "What's this?" I was like, "Bro, in the West, this is what they do." And he was laughing out loud. He's Romanian. So he's reading the emails going, "These people have no life. What are these people?" I was like, he goes, "What do they want me to do?" I was like, they're hoping you're going to fire me. The whole boardroom was laughing, and they threw the emails away, and we carried on with life. Because we're not in a society which is held at ransom. I'm lucky to live in a society which is not held ransom by these people. Yeah. But in America, if I had a normal job, it would have been it. You know, it's absolutely crazy now. So, and what happens when you take away a man's speech? If a man's not free to talk, what's a man free to do? That's the first way you demasculinize a man. You tell him to shut up. I say this to people. I'm depressed. I was like, well, life's depressing. You're getting older. You're going to die. You know, there's a whole bunch of people with a bunch more money than you. Welcome to the fucking real world. Life's depressing. Are you a bitch? You're going to cry about it? Or you're going to do something about it? Like, life is depressing. Who told us? Tell me where it says in the human handbook that we're supposed to be happy all of the time. Right, we're not supposed to be happy. We're supposed to survive. Now, if you're a man, you can survive even if you're miserable. I say this all the time. Give me depression. You wouldn't even notice. This is what pisses them off because they're like, "Oh yeah, you wouldn't be able to function." I guarantee I can still drive my Lambo and fuck women. I guarantee you. Try me. Because I refuse to be such a baby that I'm going to sit there and go, "Well, I feel a certain way, so I have to act a certain way." No. One of the number one tenets of masculinity, in fact, it's probably the primary tenet of masculinity, is acting different to how you feel. This 100%. Is the primary tenet of masculinity. Do you think the men on the Titanic felt like dying? No, but they acted a certain way because they were men. The women and the children are afraid and they're going to run. I'm afraid and I'm going to stay here because I'm a man. As a man, you have to control your emotions. So I don't give a shit if you're depressed. There's no excuse to not be an adult and make sensible decisions based on discipline alone. I'm too depressed to train. No, you lack discipline. Because I've felt miserable. Every single person has. I didn't miss a gym session ever. So I don't believe in that crap. I don't believe in it. And I don't believe in it because I know that the true cure to fixing people is to tell them, here's the example I gave when this whole thing blew up. I said, if I moved into a house and I heard squeaks in the night and I don't believe in ghosts, I'm going to attribute it to the wind and go back to sleep. If I move into the same house and hear the same squeaks, but I'm a big believer in ghosts, I'm going to start being scared. I'm going to call an exorcist. I'm going to say it's a ghost. So my point is, the same situation gets worse based primarily on my beliefs. If you don't believe in depression, you can't be depressed. Right. All you can be is, okay, I feel a bit pissed off. Time to get up and go get it. Let's hit the gym, bang, hit the club. I'm gonna make some things happen in my life. But if you do believe in depression, the second you feel sad, the first thing you do is sit down and go, this isn't my fault I feel this way. I have a disease and nothing's gonna make me better. And you're gonna get worse. So this is the whole point. This is what was amazing when I said depression wasn't real. I said, if all you, because I was getting attacked by, all the Avatar Anon characters, I'm depressed, you don't understand, my friend killed himself, blah, blah, blah. I was like, listen, if depression is really so horrible, why are you all defending it so fervently? So it's real, it's so powerful, it's real. Why are you defending this horrible thing? Why don't you sit there and go, you know what, you're right, Andrew, fuck depression. But they want to defend it because it's an identity. It's something that allows them to feign individuality. It's something that allows them to, it's an excuse. It's a ready-made excuse for all of life's failures. I'm a loser, but it's not my fault. But depression. That's all it is. It's a fucking coping mechanism. I don't believe it. I do not believe in depression. I believe if you really feel terrible and someone were to come along and give you $10 million, you'd probably feel a bit better. Also, just to quickly touch on this, because every time I say this, people come at me and think they're smart. And they say, well, what about Robin Williams? He was famous. He killed himself, blah, blah, blah. And I say, yeah, and I'll tell you why he killed himself. He killed himself because of people like you who are telling him depression is real, not people like me.
Right.
When Robin Williams was in therapy for 10 years. If he would have walked into his first therapy session and his therapist said, look, Robin, you're a millionaire, you're famous, you can fuck any woman alive. You coming here is insulting to people with PTSD and genuine conditions, which I believe is different. If you've been through some real shit in a war, fine, you could be depressed. If you're just Joe Schmo and nothing's happened to you, you have no reason to be depressed. I'd say, look, Robin, you've got a fantastic life. You coming here is insulting to people with real issues. Grow up and get the fuck out my office.